Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Tricky Tuesday. The Tricky Tuesday edition of my drive to work. I hope everybody had a great weekend. Yesterday was Labor Day, and it was not a very productive day for me at work. I did work yesterday. That's lots of fun. Yeah, we didn't have a single person come in. So that's fun. No, that's not true. We did have one person come in, and they didn't do anything. It was like they were in and out, and that was all. They were just kind of checking it out. Anyways, but hopefully you had a good day and didn't have to work. We're able to just kind of chill out. But I'm on my way in right now, and it's a beautiful day. It was about 67 degrees when I left the house, and sunny, a little hazy, pretty typical, especially this year. I mean, I was going to say this time of year, but let's face it, it's this year in particular. The Canadian smoke from the fires. Anyway. So yeah, I have one thing that I wanted to chat with everybody about, and so this is probably going to be a little bit shorter, but have you ever noticed that there are some things that you just cannot make people be interested in? In fact, if you try to wake them up from their personal little paradigm of what's going on in their lives, they get upset. And maybe not upset, maybe they just look confused, very, very confused. So that happened to me yesterday. Yesterday evening, I spoke to a group of people. I was invited to come and speak, and so I talked about the human trafficking problem, and it was an interesting reception. We'll put it that way. A very interesting reception. Initially, they were right with me. You know, my introduction, I had them, and then I lowered the boom as to what we were actually discussing, what we were talking about. And they just, yeah, boy, I tell you what, it's interesting because as I talked with my wife about that a little bit, she made the statement that some people aren't ready for it. Some people aren't ready to be woken up. And that reminded me of the movie The Matrix. You guys remember that movie where Morpheus and Neo are having a conversation, and there's all those millions of people in the city, and Neo's just like, you know, how can this be real? How can this not be real? How can it just be a simulation in our minds? And Morpheus said, most of these people are not ready to wake up. They're not ready to know the truth. And I feel like that is our populace. That is the norm. People don't want to be woken up to what's going on. They want to just continue on in their little candy-coated lives, thinking about rainbows and unicorns, and thinking that nothing bad ever happens. And I gotta tell you, that's frustrating to me, because as someone that wants the truth and doesn't want to have blinders on and doesn't want to have their head stuck in the ground and wants to wake people up to the fact that there's a really crappy thing called sin, I guess, man, I've always been that kind of person that has, you know, somebody will bring something up, and I want to touch the ouchy part. I want I want to touch on the part that bugs everybody. You know, oh, don't talk about this or don't talk about that. And that's exactly what I want to talk about, because I feel like if we leave it in the dark, nothing's going to happen. Nothing good's going to happen. It's just going to be left in the dark, and it's going to grow and fester and get worse. And that's exactly how I feel about human trafficking. If we just continue to stick our heads in the sand and pretend that it doesn't affect us, man, that's terrible. That's terrible. We've got to wake up and realize that even if a subject isn't something that we want to talk about, even if it makes us uncomfortable, in fact, probably if it makes us uncomfortable, it's that much more important that we pay attention to it. I mean, really. And have a conversation about it. Don't be willing to stick your head in the sand like an ostrich and just be like, yeah, I want to just, live in my ignorance because ignorance is bliss. Well, ignorance is definitely bliss right up until it's not. You can jump off a really, really tall building or a really tall cliff, and hey, yay, this is a fun ride, right until you hit the bottom. Then it's not fun anymore. In Proverbs 23, it talks about the fact that I think it's verse 9, it mentions that oh boy, I knew I wouldn't remember the verse. It talks about the fact that you can't, sometimes you just can't talk to a fool. They're just not going to listen. They're not going to hear you. They're going to willfully desire ignorance over knowledge, over wisdom. And that's really disappointing, because that was the reception I got last night. So I guess today's topic is, don't be a fool. Don't be one of those people that just is unwilling to listen to a topic that's uncomfortable. Embrace the awkward. Embrace the suck, as it were. If it's a sucky deal, if it's a tough thing to deal with, that's all right. You got a spine. It's all right. You can talk about it. As embarrassing and awkward as it might be, maybe it's best that you talk about it. Maybe it's best that you have that conversation. There's definitely things in my life that I don't like to talk about. Mostly because I don't trust people to not use the information against me. But I'm getting more and more to the point where it doesn't matter what I feel. It doesn't matter what I think about my emotions and the way that I'm feeling about a specific. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Embrace the suck. Yep. So that's my little tidbit for today. Embrace the suck, kids. As Risky Krisky says, it's gonna get worse before it gets worse. Anyway, I hope everybody has a good day, and we will talk to you guys on Saturday. Take care and stay prepared.